Marco Rubio has impressed both Senate and Venezuelans. He has suddenly become moderate. Perhaps he is realizing that hyper-hawkishness would not lead to any good results. People used to think that Marco Rubio and María Machado were the same, or that María Machado would dictate to Marco Rubio what to say. However, Marco Rubio's thought process has evolved. Today, Marco Rubio understands Venezuela much better than most people. Marco Rubio is asking Venezuelans to dialogue and to form a credible, unified opposition featuring people who never got along with either Chavez or Maduro, with the people who liked Chavez but did not like Maduro, while acknowledging that there are people who did not like Maduro but still like the Chavez socialist system of government. Venezuelans in general are in a positive shock. Marco Rubio is also realizing that a change in Venezuela democracy would take time, and perhaps he is already conceding that Delcy Rodriguez might just have to finish her term, because it seems that Marco Rubio and Donald Trump get along better with Delcy Rodriguez than with anyone of the opposition, or they have already realized that Venezuelan opposition tends to block and fight endlessly. Marco Rubio told Congress that Delcy Rodriguez is extremely supportive and even comes with fresh ideas, such as substituting Russian NAFTA for United States NAFTA, or investing petroleum proceeds into United States medical equipment. Marco Rubio is impressed with the set of priorities that Delcy Rodriguez establishes for Venezuela, and they seem in absolute agreement. Marco Rubio is surprised that huge sectors of Venezuelan society, including sectors from the government, are willing to get rid of excessive Iranian, Chinese, and Russian influence. Some intelligence sectors of United States have complained that Venezuela does not want to stop collaboration with China, Iran, or Russia. However, Marco Rubio confirms that as United States presence in Venezuela rapidly increases, the rate of influence of those countries in Venezuela should decrease to tolerable levels. Marco Rubio is impressed that Venezuela's National Assembly actually approved first discussion of change of hydrocarbon law, which effectively places our country in a competitive position against rest of oil-producing countries, generating suitable conditions for investment. Such hydrocarbon law passage is possible because of the Chavista votes, as opposition votes are mostly against or with several reservations on hydrocarbon law change. It looks like the Chavismo is becoming capitalist and opposition remains socialist. And the exact scenario is happening within the United States Senate. Most Democratic senators criticized Marco Rubio for everything. It looks like both American opposition and Venezuelan opposition deplore that Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Delcy Rodriguez get along so well, are getting the hydrocarbon law passed, and that creative financial arrangements for petroleum sales and economic development in general in Venezuela will be made possible. If that is the case, the most desirable scenario would be that both Republicans and Chavistas remain in power in both United States and Venezuela respectively for as long as possible, as they get things done. Involvement of Qatar is crucial. Qatar is offering temporary financial arrangements so that United States sanctions or international lawsuits against Venezuelan assets cannot go against the urgent need of preserving Venezuelan income for the benefit of Venezuelans, which is a topic that Marco Rubio has explained to perfection. Perhaps what's happening is what Donald Trump said, that Delcy Rodriguez is a charming, well-prepared lady who has made her case so conclusively that Marco Rubio is recently shifting previous neocon points of view. María Machado, however, remains stuck on her usual intolerance, deploring Venezuelan National Assembly, which means that María Machado would not approve of hydrocarbon law that is being passed in recent days so that we get international investment. Therefore, María Machado has been promising economic investment without any credible means to reach it, as she is attacking the very National Assembly which is making possible such investment opportunities. This is the first time we see such huge divergence in thought of María Machado and Marco Rubio. And fortunately, Marco Rubio, along with Donald Trump and Delcy Rodriguez, are on the lead. Foreign Minister of Venezuela, Iván Gil, should also be on board, but unfortunately, he seems a hardline communist extremely aligned with the Cuban regime, and he continues reaching Turkey, African countries, which of course are nice to have, but are not the main priority. The main priority of Venezuela is restoring relationships not only with the United States, but with several, if not most, Latin American and Caribbean countries that are just too happy that Nicolás Maduro is gone. Delcy Rodriguez recently appointed a new health minister. She appointed a cybersecurity official from an existing ministry. However, it looks like Delcy Rodriguez will soon have to change foreign minister. Iván Gil refuses to fall in line with new agreements between Venezuela and the United States. He seems to be acting completely on his own, and Delcy Rodriguez must show that she is in power. Delcy Rodriguez is gathering huge support from an unexpected portion of opposition that is realizing that her treason to Nicolás Maduro is working. As treason to Nicolás Maduro equates to commitment to Venezuelans who did not vote for Nicolás Maduro. One of the reasons why Nicolás Maduro lost 2024 elections so massively is because even in the Chavista movement, people did not want Maduro, but they just wanted to preserve their system. It was a total mistake to have Nicolás Maduro as presidential candidate in 2024. If Delcy Rodriguez was already performing such a good job in the petroleum industry, why didn't the ruling party in Venezuela place Delcy Rodriguez as presidential candidate in 2024? It would have saved a lot of trouble. In any case, Marco Rubio realizes that there has only been 3 weeks of these new deals. Everything is happening very quickly, and members of United States Senate and Venezuelan population are anxious to see immediate results, while he is still focusing on the first stabilization part of the plan, where petroleum income payments would be sent once a month, and the $300 million payment we received recently was just sent out as emergency and will be audited later. Future payments should be planned and approved beforehand. Marco Rubio also stressed out the fact that actions are more important than words. It seems that both Rubio and Trump realize perfectly well that Delcy Rodriguez needs to take care of a base that was accustomed to socialism and anti-imperialism and is now providing free market reforms. So she may be obliged to engage in partisan radical left discourse, while her actions are more according to free market. Sovereign funds are being unlocked for hospital, electrical, oil, and gas equipment. Delcy Rodriguez, in fact, announced that the Central University of Venezuela Hospital has a brand new dialysis area, as well as other hospitals within the interior of Venezuela. While the digital platform for public audit on how the money is being allocated should be made available to the public soon. Marco Rubio also addressed the possibility that Venezuelan gold from now on could be sold through United States markets, which would significantly reduce the high rates of illegal gold smuggling and indirectly could diminish the environmental damage of Venezuela's mining arc and remote gold producing regions. Venezuelan oil is no longer attractive for China, as China is always looking for a bargain. Venezuela may no longer purchase Venezuelan oil at a discount, as shadow fleets are being dismantled for Venezuelan oil transportation. So China's focus is shifting to collecting legitimate debt owed by Venezuela. Venezuela and China will need to make bilateral arrangements for paying back Chinese debt. However, if Venezuela receives ample cash for higher output petroleum sales at a higher market price, Venezuela should eventually increase cash flows available for honoring debt to China. China is expected to import petroleum from Canada in the Western Hemisphere, as China and Canada have signed a strategic partnership. Carlos Alaimo from Versión Final newspaper is complaining that Yandirlo Giudice, political activist, remains as a political prisoner. However, Carlos Alaimo has been living abroad during many years, and he has just ordered militants of his political movement to take unnecessary risks. Many political prisoners, when they were free, they engaged in high-risk activities. They discussed strategies in meetings that were seen by risk-averse citizens as subversive. And now the risk-averse citizens have the extra job of lobbying to the government for release of political prisoners who engaged in excessive confrontational politicking. This level of excessive confrontation, so central to María Machado's movement, is directly responsible of Venezuela having so many political prisoners, as our politics has been of intense provocation from one side to the other. And it looks like Marco Rubio is realizing that, favoring suddenly dialogue rather than increased confrontation. It looks like both Maduro and Machado are out of the reconciliation proposal on the cards today between Trump, Rubio, and Delcy Rodriguez, while traditional moderate opposition of Venezuela is not doing well, as they are just confronting the government because they are supposed to be opposition, and they are expressing excuses for not approving the new hydrocarbon law, which is already seen as beneficial by both the Trump administration and the Delcy Rodriguez administration, and the most economically oriented Venezuelans who would like to see foreign investment as soon as possible. Journalists and lawyers have usually benefited from the existence of political prisoners, as the inflow and liberation of political prisoners provide income streams for both lawyers and journalists. Experts in online confrontation and court litigation and non-governmental organization international activism. Those adversarial strategies have been exhausted, and they have produced no tangible results. It is likely that after spending so much of his life focusing on this particular Venezuelan political situation, Marco Rubio, now in a position of power, has realized that dialogue and cooperation with the Venezuelan regime is the most suitable way for a peaceful transition. María Machado's team has also engaged in blocking all dissidents. Guarimba Digital YouTube channel has been censored by María Machado's team because they dared to suggest that Vente Venezuela, the political organization of María Machado, was not engaging in successful communication practices. They do not upload videos timely. They use non-secure websites, and such sort of constructive criticism has caused divergences and a few expressions of hatred. Constant complaining, constant accusations within your own constituency have occurred during years, and is also one cause why the Chavismo movement has survived, as Chavismo thrives on unity despite internal differences, while opposition thrives on pointing out differences so that the most vocal, as in the case of María Machado, usually wins. But as we see, that confrontational strategy has collapsed. Nasri Asfura has been sworn in as president of Honduras. He is planning a rapid shift of his country towards Israel and the United States, while Jose Antonio Cast is expected to do same in Chile later this year. President Delcy Rodriguez was confronted by a leader of the student movement at the university while she was on her way for inauguration of the new dialysis center. The student leader yelled to her, misbehaved, and while he was asking for updates on release of political prisoners, he even didn't let President Delcy Rodriguez speak. When she was finally able to speak, he just told him to calm down and exercise politics with responsibility, and she left. Venezuelan opposition in social media tends to respond very aggressively and indulge into permanent anger, which is increasingly seen as toxic by everyone else. Colombia is experiencing hard times as President Petro is increasingly seen either drunk or on drugs, while the opposition at the Democratic Center are consumed in accusations of endless fights among its members, very much like Venezuelan opposition, while we wait on results of forthcoming meeting between Gustavo Petro and Donald Trump. Nicolas Maduro legal process might soon get verifiable information on Nicolas Maduro's place of birth. It has for many years been suspected that Nicolas Maduro was born in Ocaña, norte de Santander, Colombia, as there is a birth certificate for him in the city of Ocaña. Therefore, Nicolas Maduro is Colombian, not Venezuelan, or he holds double nationality, but a person with double nationality is not constitutionally allowed to be the president of Venezuela. This debate on Nicolas Maduro's nationality has been going on for years, but it was recurrently silenced. But now, the New York court requested conclusive information on Nicolas Maduro's place of birth, and as he has usually claimed that he was born in Caracas, that would be lying under oath and would complicate his legal case. Venezuela's military, along with Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello, went to a military ceremony where they pledged support to Delcy Rodriguez as Commander-in-Chief. It is desirable that the Venezuelan society and her political party recognize Delcy Rodriguez's leadership as she is successfully engaging on a peaceful economic development path along with the United States, so that our economic decline that has extended over several decades may finally revert, and Venezuela goes back, as Marco Rubio says, an oil-producing and exporting economy, not subject to sanctions, able to function for the benefit of Venezuelan people.